Welcome to episode 166 of Broad Street Hustle. Back this week, your host Tommy Nanny bringing you exciting show tonight. Phillies trade deadline and Saratoga Whitney Day, pick five. Let's go around the horn to see who we have here. Jason Santa, normal
What's up,
co-host.
Tom? What's going
Jason,
on?
how we doing? We got Jimmy the Chalk.
Hello, hello.
So no Jimmy D this week for the Whitney. I believe he's there. So
I do have
uh,
a Whitney pick from him.
all right, that's always good. That is always good. Like I said, it's episode 166 of Broad Street Hustle, which is brought to you by Giovannina's Pizza. You tried the rest. Now try the best. We are going to cover the Phillies trade deadline, which is officially over as we're recording on Thursday night. So I'll just run through some of the deals quickly, and then we'll let the boys kind of comment on them. So yesterday, kind of the big deal happened where Phillies got, is it Johan? That's
Johan, Johan,
Johan.
Johan, I believe it's pronounced.
Duran, who is a closer for the Twins, kind of lights out, throws over 100. His fastball, crazy other pitch, splicer, some weird pitch that he throws. Should be pretty exciting. They gave up, Mick Abel, nothing crazy, kind of expected that, and then Taid, who was like a real young prospect. Then today they got Harrison Bader for who did they give up? Anything for that? Not really, right?
Middling prospects.
Yeah.
And then last second deal was pitcher Manning. I don't know much about him. I don't know if you guys know him.
I
Yeah, I saw
I
people on
only
Twitter.
I only know he's going to Clearwater for now, but I
Okay.
don't know if he's going to be a major league
I saw people on
addition.
Twitter saying they liked him. Maybe he's like like down the road type of guy.
I don't know, but he's going to single A for whatever reason for the time being.
So that's about it. I mean, no splash when it came to the bats. A little bit of a platoon, but definitely a splash when it came to bullpen and the boys covered last week. But they also got Robinson last week. You know, he's probably ready to come up soon for the Phillies. So the bullpen looks completely different. We'll go through it. So Jason, quick thoughts on the deadline.
Yeah, so I on the show last week, and prior shows that we've done, I've mentioned before that I thought they were going to make a big splash, and I kind of think like Dombrowski's on the hot seat. If you ask me, like they better do something in the playoffs this year. And he did. I mean, he went out and got, arguably, if not the best closer out there that was available. Either him or Miller, I guess, were the best closers available. So he went out and did it. He did it without giving up any of the top three prospects. However, this Tai he's a pretty good prospect. Now he's young, right? So he's a little bit away, but when they made that trade, now since then he's been surpassed by another trade, but he was the highest. He was the first top 100 prospect to be traded at the deadline in 3 years, which is pretty wild to think. So he's a pretty legit prospect that they gave up. So, but it had, you got to give something to get something. And like I said, they got a guy who not only is going to be the closer for the rest of this year, but he's signed or he's under control for the next 2 years. So, you know, this is your closer that they haven't had in since Papelbon, I guess you could say, right? He their last really legit good closer they've had.
Unless you consider
Um,
Giles.
I guess. I mean, for a little bit, right? But um, yeah, so totally happy with that. And I've mentioned before on the podcast, I think we all have, that Harrison Bader was always a good candidate for the Phillies to trade for. He's a right-handed hitter. I think I read he was top five in defensive WAR since 2017 for outfielders. So he's rock solid, great defender. He plays left and he plays center. So he's gonna get a lot of playing time. In both of those positions. Um, I was happy with it. Now, I'm reading people on Twitter. All these fans that are wanting them to trade for Babe Ruth and everybody. You have to be. You got to kind of be reasonable here. Like they already made a splash with trading prospects to get their closer. You know, how many prospects are they gonna give up now? Like you have to be reasonable. So I like it. You know, I have what I think the roster is going to be for the playoffs. We could come back and talk about that later, but I'm happy with what he did.
Yeah, I mean, I have some thoughts too around like people complaining about what they did, and also, well, I'll let Chalky talk about the trade, the acquisitions first, and I'll kind of get into my thoughts on that. So go ahead, Chalky.
Well, I mean, San Diego kind of is putting the theory of you can trade all your farm system to win a World Series to the test this year. So we'll see how that ends up.
Yeah,
They did
how
it
did
last
their
year
did
too.
their odds go up above the Phillies to win the World
No,
Series?
no, Phillies are still second. So no.
Right. So good
And
job.
they did it 2 years ago too with Juan Soto.
Yeah. Yep. And he got him to the NLCS,
And
but they traded
and
a lot of good
I mean,
players that are not in their system anymore.
Correct.
they gave up a lot, yeah,
Yeah.
for a guy that you still have to even like we gave up for a closer too, but they got Miller. You still got to get the Miller. You gotta have a lead against the Dodgers to get the Miller.
Yeah, their
So,
starters don't really do much for me, but that's not
No.
that's not for right now. I mean, I think this is kind of what we thought was best case or most realistic basic scenario is you get a stud closer and you get some outfield help. And Duran wasn't sure if he was going to be the one that was going to be able to get, but he was available. And when you look at the price that San Diego gave up for Miller, I mean, you want to argue Miller's better, okay, but they gave up the third best prospect in baseball plus another
Right.
top five in theirs and something else. Now they got another starter as well, so it wasn't just Miller, but they paid a much higher price than the Phillies did for a guy that is arguably better. And I don't know Miller's stats quite in depth because I was reading more up on Duran, but they said his pitching style will fit Citizens Bank because he's got a good ground ball rate. So you don't want to be putting too many balls in the air in a stadium like that. So that fits into the ballpark. So I mean, look, the Abel's not a guy. I mean, Abel really raised his value this year. So that worked out well for the Phillies. And Tate could be a good prospect. He was nothing last year, and he jumped all the way up to what is he 60 or something? Jason, so he's
66
he's
or
top
something like
100, but 60 whatever, number 4 in the organization at this point. But he's only is he 18 or is he 20?
He's turning 19.
Yeah, so he's 2-3 years minimum away from being on this team. And they're already saying, like, he's not going to be able to be a catcher in the big leagues. So if he's going to DH, well, you're going to have Harper here for another 7 years or whatever. So that kind of clogs that up. So, I mean, I think it makes sense. And I think it was I think that's an A grade on me for that deal, considering what they had to give up. And I think the Bader trade for what they gave up was a good deal because the one kid, he's a 16-year-old. The pitcher is a 16-year-old kid they just signed. So if he's a phenom, he's 4 or 5 years away from the big leagues. And the other outfielder was in the teens as far as ranking. So, you got to try to win now with this core. And those guys aren't going to contribute for 5-6 years. So, I'm fine with that deal. The knock, if you would call it that, is and we were talking. I said, well, you got the ammo to go get Quan too, and who knows what they were asking for him other than Painter. I would have liked to have seen them maybe try to get something else. Say Laureano ended up going to San Diego on a bigger deal, so maybe he wasn't there. But if they could have fit him in somewhere, I'd feel a little better. But look, they're going to rely on this pitching staff to get him to the World Series. The starters are going to have to pitch well, and then you get to that bullpen, and you have the talent in the lineup to get 3 or 4 runs a game in the playoffs if your pitching holds up. The question is that, you can't expect the whole team to get hot for a month. So are they going to get enough out of the bats? But in reality, we're complaining now for this will be the third playoffs where we question if the bullpen holds up, they're in the World Series in 2023. And that was not an overwhelmingly good Texas team. So the bullpen blew game 4 against Arizona. They win in 5 if the bullpen doesn't blow that game. So I think there's a lot to be said about, the bullpen. And Dombrowski said that Crawford and Painter are coming up relatively soon, so we'll see how they fit in to the lineup and the rotation for the rest of the year. But good marks in and of itself, and you can. I think a lot of the Twitter argument is because they saw these other teams making bigger moves or more splashier moves. It was a pretty busy deadline in comparison to the last couple years, so I think that throws it off a little bit. But I mean, in and of itself, I think they did what they had to do with what they were, what was available and what was reasonable.
I mean, what outfielder got traded that the Phillies missed out?
No, the outfielders weren't really the thing. So like Kwan didn't go, obviously.
So what big names did the Phillies
other?
miss out on? Suarez?
Not a big name. I mean, like for me, like I said, Laureano, who's not a big name, but he would have been a nice put in left field. You put Bader in center, and you're not worried about your outfield anymore or platoon anybody. But
unless you got, like Jason said, Ruth and Mantle, you're still the second best team in the National League.
Yeah.
You're behind the Dodgers regardless, but you still have a chance to win the World Series.
Now the Suarez thing, right? Now I even hear Ricky Pitalico saying stuff. I totally don't agree with him. Are you going to bring another big strikeout guy into this lineup? Like he's a 200 strikeout guy.
If Suarez was a left fielder, I would have felt a little more disappointing in not getting him, I guess. But I mean, you bring him in the lineup as it is. He's got pop, but he strikes out a lot, and then you got to reconfigure your defensive positions because he's got to go to third. And so unless you're trading Bohm as part of it, and he just slots into third base, you got to figure everything else out. So you don't have to do that with Bader.
Like Jason said, like you need a lineup. You don't need guys that just everybody hit. You need a lineup. And a lineup isn't just the best hitters all the time. You look at the Dodgers last year. Who'd they get at the trade deadline? The World Series MVP, right? Whatever that guy's name was, Padres, the guy with the P.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, or maybe it was the NL MVP. He won the MVP in one of the series. You look at the Braves got Rosario the one year they won, who was like a guy that you need guys that are going to hit in the playoffs in a lineup. You don't need everybody says we don't even know if he was on the table.
Well, he didn't go anywhere.
He was on the table because a bunch of nerdy writers said he was on the table. Right. We have no idea if he was available.
Yeah, but people don't understand that Bader is so good in the outfield. Like he's such a good defensive player. That's huge. That's huge.
Especially and he's in the playoffs when every run matters.
Yeah, and he's a right-handed bat, and he's got some pop.
Look, Dombrowski lost the benefit of the doubt. We all can agree.
I agree. Yeah,
it's hard to say. Well, you give him some wiggle because he lost that. But like you guys said, he went out and got the second best closer for nothing for a guy who's 19 years old, who last year, like you said, wasn't even a top prospect, has a super high chase rate. Who knows if it? You have no idea about that guy. And Mick Abel, who had nowhere to play on this team. Who last year, if you traded him, you would have got me for him.
Mick Abel was totally blocked, so you can't even count on him. You can't even that. It's a good trade.
Yeah,
and again,
he redeemed his value is probably not going to get any higher. He took his value from nothing to something. This year.
I guess if he only pitched that one game and never pitched again,
maybe. The thing I'll say with Bader, and we talked. I mean, we like Jason said, we talked about him for a while. You could have had this guy in the offseason at a cheaper price than what you paid for Kepler, and he could have been on this team all year long without having to send anything, and then maybe you could have added something else. So that's a mistake on Dombrowski's part in giving Kepler $10 million a year, who hasn't done much, and you could have had Bader instead. So
but you can't fault the guy when you're evaluating the trade deadline for what he did in the offseason. Yeah, overall you can fault him for it, but you can't. Just because he should have got, you know what I mean? We are where we are. Regardless, we could blame Dombrowski, which we do.
We already killed him for that stuff,
right? But you can't say now he didn't do it because he should have.
No, he did what he could. By the way,
Roberts didn't get moved. Hooker didn't get moved. Quan did. All these guys that were on the trade deadline did not get moved. We have no
Mhm.
idea if they were ever available. You have no idea what insane package the teams were trying to get for him. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
I mean, truthfully, I
if
would
Quan
have
got
called. I
moved,
might have called Minnesota one more time to see if I could get Buxton because they traded everybody but him pretty much
But he's
to
hurt.
strip that
He just
roster.
hurt on
But
the
he's
DL.
on the DL.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably.
Um,
I mean, if Quan got moved and you look at the package and it's like, then you
Correct.
could say, you know what, Dombrowski messed up. He should have won it. These guys didn't get traded. They
Correct.
didn't get traded. So how you can't
Mhm.
like you have no idea. I mean, anybody. It's just it's just Twitter nonsense. I mean, we know that. Um,
so
but yeah, Jason,
by
you
the way,
said
World Series MVP last year was Freddie Freeman, and LCS MVP was Tommy Edman.
Edmund.
Was he
Yeah.
was he the guy they got?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
that's
Yeah.
it. Was what I say. I don't.
Yeah.
They had a guy with a P, but I guess he wasn't. Pat, I can't think of his name. But yeah,
Pages?
it was Edmund. The Edmonds was the guy that they got.
Yeah.
Who I'm saying, these are guys that like are not. These are Harrison Baders that all of a sudden like these were who was the guy last year that stunk. He was that guy. He just stunk.
What was the last?
The
And I
guy that
don't
got
have
hurt,
Hayes.
lefty that
I
got
don't have
Hayes.
hurt.
the answer to this.
Hayes,
but
yeah.
What was the last time a team made a big splash at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this probably before, like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't see it. So no, the big. I mean, the making the biggest splash. I mean, you could argue. I mean, until Miller getting traded, they certainly made the biggest splash in the reliever market. And I don't know that there was. So I mean, the Padres deals will overshadow what the Phillies did to some extent, but they got one of the 2 or 3 biggest names that probably were available, right? I mean, if you think about it, say Suarez, okay, but I mean, they did something
Yeah.
big,
No,
but
the only big deal is like bullpen. I think you get a bullpen arm that's a big
Well,
name.
so
It's a little different.
yeah.
so they interviewed Schwarber last night. It
Yeah, he
might have
talked
been
about
last night.
Chapman. He talked
And
about
he
getting
talked
Chapman.
about Chapman. That's a perfect analogy, right? The Cubs did not have a closer. They went out and got a lockdown closer, who's still good, by the way. He's still really good, Aroldis Chapman. But anyway, and look, they won the World Series.
Yeah, I mean because you got to think about it too, getting a big splash hitter versus getting a big splash bullpen. Oh, getting a bullpen guy completely changes. Now
Yeah.
now the Kirkrings and the Stroms don't pitch in the ninth, and they now pitch in the seventh. And this guy pitch, completely changes the makeup. And then in the playoffs, you start moving starters to the bullpen as well. So like that's why a bullpen piece can really be instrumental in making
Mhm.
moving the team. Where a hitter, I mean, the Padres got Soto, right? If I'm not mistaken,
They
and
did.
he did nothing to
No.
help the team. So it's like,
Well, they went to the championship series.
yeah, that's the year we beat them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but they also made the playoffs, and there was only 6 teams in the. I mean, they had a 30%.
Yeah, they didn't win the
20%
World Series, no, for sure.
But they gave up like
And that's
they
the
gave
whole
up a lot
point.
of good players. It looks like
That's
right
the
now.
whole point. The Phillies could have gave up the whole farm system, and they would still be the second best team in the NL. They would still have just as much chance.
yeah, like
to win.
who went that that you would have given up Painter and Miller for? You know what I'm
Nobody.
saying?
Nobody that got
Not
traded.
one
No,
single person.
absolutely not.
Right.
Who?
Nobody that got traded. No.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even Quan. Would you like? Does Quan
No.
put you over the edge for
No,
Painter?
no, he's a nice
No.
player, but
No, I mean Painter was untouchable, so that was like beginning. Now,
Honestly,
would
like,
I
unless-
have done Quan for Crawford and Miller? I would have gave it some serious thought because I think he fits pretty well. But
unless the Yankees call me and say, you know what, we don't like Aaron Judge. We want Painter and Miller for Judge. That's the only time. That's the only person. Like that's the only guy that's making a difference.
no.
or Otani, but
Or yeah, that actually I would take Otani. Jason, you mentioned the playoff roster. So
Yeah.
So I mean, you can go through it. We don't have to probably go through like Harper. and
It's
stuff.
quick. So
It's just the outfield is kind of what you're looking at.
yeah, it's quick though. I did some research. So the roster's 26 guys in the playoffs, but you're only allowed 13 pitchers, right? So if we just look at the pitching side of it, you obviously you're 5 that are in the rotation, right? And then so that's 5. Then you got Duran. I don't know if you pronounce it Duran or Duran, whatever.
I think it's Duran, but
I've heard
I just
Duran,
say
too.
Duran.
Yeah. All right. So it's Duran 6, Kirkring, Strom, that's 8. Banks is 9. Robertson's 10. Okay. So now Romano is going to make it, right?
I don't know.
He's
I don't.
going
I
to
don't
make
know.
it. Come on.
Romano also could be that could end up being a series by series guy too. Like don't
Yeah, move
forget,
around.
you, yeah,
Well,
you
I
don't
mean,
need to
let's.
lock
Yeah,
in.
I'm sorry.
So let me
Go
go
through the
on.
rest of the list. Yeah.
After Romano, you're getting to now Lazar. So I mean, come on, would you rather have Romano or Lazar? I mean, I know just because of the pedigree.
Well, do you don't think that? I mean, you could go ahead. We'll
Yeah.
keep going.
Okay, so we got the five starters. Let's count again the bullpen. So you got Duran, Kirkring, Strom, Robertson. That's four. So that gives you nine pitchers so far, right? Um,
Banks.
Banks is five. So now you have 10 pitchers. So you got three more pitchers left: Romano, Lazar, and the last spot is either going to be Taiwan Walker or
Right.
Painter. Or
Right.
Painter, right?
If Painter's healthy, I don't think it's a debate. I think he's on the roster.
Well, yeah, but are they going to want him to pitch out of the bullpen?
Yeah.
I think you have him. I mean, if somebody gets hurt in the rotation, you can swap him out for a guy if you leave, say, put Painter behind. But
Yeah,
I mean, is Walker going to give you that many valuable innings out of the bullpen?
Well, Walker's going to
Jimmy's-
give you when you're losing 9-0 and you don't want to use pitchers. You're going to put Walker in to pitch 4 innings. You know.
Yeah, but to Jimmy's point, if Painter's healthy, you don't think it's more of are you going to go through Lazar or Walker? Like you're saying Walker versus Painter. You don't think it might be a Lazar versus Painter or Romano versus or
No, 'cause I don't think they want Painter to pitch out of the bullpen. I think they want Painter as a starter.
I mean, I'm still thinking like if that's their philosophy, then I'm thinking like that fourth spot in the rotation, you can mess around with Nola or Painter pitching 3, Luzardo pitching 3, and then something like that if you have to get into that kind of situation.
It's possible, but I think Luzardo is going to be out of the bullpen, right? And
I don't
think
see him
Nola's-
starting right now, no, because they're not
Nola's
going to
gonna be your
have they're
fourth.
not. I really can't see him having 3 left-handers in the 4-man rotation.
Yeah. So Nola's going to be your fourth game starter. Now, whoever's going to follow him, or maybe it's Painter. I don't know, but So I think that's your question there. Now, if you get to the lineup, right? So you have your regular 9 guys, right, including Schwarber, and those 9 guys we could put. Let's put Bader in center and Kepler in left. All right. So if you count that as 9, Sosa's 10, right? Marsh is going to be 11, and then Marchand's 12. Now that's going to leave one position left. Is it going to be Kemp or is it going to be Rojas? I think it's going to be Kemp
I would say Kemp for pinch hitting
because you don't have a backup first baseman really.
Yeah,
right?
well, Bohm can move over.
I
And
guess
Sosa
Bohm can
to
move
third.
there, and Sosa can move the third. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But I think what like
Here's the thing. I would say depending on, I would say Kemp too because he can play a couple different
Yeah.
positions. The thing I'm not sold on, especially depending on when they call Crawford up to see what he can do, is Kepler. I don't think it's a lot Kepler's on the play. I don't think it's a lot Kepler's on the roster when the playoffs come at this point.
The problem with that is it's like if Crawford comes
I don't
up and
agree with
Crawford
that.
stinks, he's got no shot. But if Crawford,
Kepler is a good player. Kepler, let me explain what's going on with Kepler. Kepler is the worst luck hitter I've seen in a long time. He hits line drives at people. He gets robbed for home runs. Now, granted, he's hitting 200. He should be a lot better than that. But he's a very good outfielder. He's got pop. And, I just think I don't look at those metrics, but I bet you his metrics say that he's a lot better than a 200 hitter right now. So I think I don't know what's going to happen with Crawford, right? If they call him up
well, that's the problem. You don't know what he's going to look like. You have
and
no
he's
idea.
left-handed, so now if he was right-handed, it's simple because Rojas is gone and you got Crawford there. But now he's left-handed, so now Marsh has been coming on lately.
And if you remember, Marsh in the playoffs is a solid enough
Yeah, he had
guy.
a couple of big hits. Yeah, and he's decent defensively. So I don't know if Crawford's going to be on the playoff roster. I mean, maybe they call him up, and if he
It's
shows
going to
that-
be contingent on when they come up and what he shows. So for sure, it's not like an automatic thing. I think
it's
Rojas
gonna
is.
be-
I would say Rojas is definitely not on the roster at this
Yeah.
point. And if I had to pick who's next, I mean, I would say Kepler. But obviously, that's a big guess that Crawford can show anything to warrant being on the roster.
It's just too hard to predict the Crawford
I
thing.
mean, what's your left field then? If Kepler's not there, just
I'd, I'd
Bader,
I would play.
Bader and
Well,
I would
Marsh.
play Bader and
Marsh.
Marsh, however you want to do it.
And who's your center fielder?
Whichever one you don't want to play in left field. Marsh is
Well, you would put,
Bader's a Gold Glove winner. Marsh is a Gold Glove finalist. Like your gloves will be fine out there playing like that. It's a matter of do you want Marsh playing against left-handers?
you don't think there's a chance? Well, that screws up Kepler. Like you don't think Bader's going to try to be used almost on an everyday? You think he?
I think he should be.
I think he's going to play a lot. I don't. I wouldn't say every day, but maybe 70% of the time.
Right. So now now you have a problem because in center you're going to play Kepler or Marsh, both lefties, right? So how do you decide? Like, how is that going to look?
So I think,
Or right, whatever. I guess.
yeah, I think against a left-hander, you're going to have. I think you're definitely going to have Bader either in left or center.
Mhm.
I think honestly, if you look at their career stats, Kepler hits left-handers better than Marsh does. So I would put Bader in center and Kepler in left against left-handers.
And then against righties, you're playing just deciding who's better against
Marsh, Marsh and Kepler, or Marsh and Bader, or Bader and Kepler. It's just going to be. I think those three guys are going to be.
I'm not sitting Bader for Kepler at this point. I can't.
I mean, Kepler is the better player than Bader.
He's not the better defender by any means, and offensively, Bader's been better this year. So.
Yeah, but all right, I don't agree with that. But all right.
You wait. Well, which part? The hitting or the defense?
That Bader's a better player than Kepler. Look at Kepler's career.
His career. He's that's his career. I know we could go through the whole play to the back of their cards thing, but the production this year is what it is. Maybe it's just a fluky thing where he's getting a lot of bad luck. But there's a reason why Minnesota let him walk for nothing. Like they laughed. The reporters were saying they laughed when the Phillies signed him because they knew something. Supposedly that could be wrong. I mean, they're a bad team. Look what they're doing now.
Yeah,
but,
I wouldn't. About that.
I would not be prioritizing Kepler over Bader. So we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, I think now you're making Bader a lot better of a player, and he's a good player and he's a good addition, but. He's Harrison Bader, who's been on 6 teams, right? So,
yeah, I mean, he just kind of replaces. He just gives you the ability to tell Rojas.
He's a good piece. Yeah, Rojas, right?
Right,
Exactly. You want a better right-handed center fielder to put out there, and he's fine to put out there. He's fine in a 3-player to split up, 2-position mix.
And he can come off the bench. He can pinch hit off the bench.
Correct. He's got some pop. Yeah. So, and Rojas is not even a major league hitter.
He's not a major league hitter.
He's a good defensive player, but you're not going to pinch. Who you're going to pinch hit Rojas for? I mean, come on. So, I think you got the 3-player mix. Unless Crawford could screw all that up. I don't know what's going to happen with Crawford. Right? Maybe Crawford comes up. I just go back to the scouts don't like his bat in major league, so we'll see if the scouts are right or not.
Well, he's like a ground ball hitter. How often do ground ball hitters correlate to Major League Baseball?
Yeah, they don't think his bat speed is major league level.
All right, quickly before we move on to Saratoga, as we're already a half hour in. So Chalky alluded to the Padres. So Padres got Miller, Sears, O'Hearn, and Lurian, right? Is it Laureano is the 4 guys or so that kind of made a splash. Mets got Hensley, another closer. Cedric Mullins, which doesn't do all that much for me. Reds picked up Hayes, and Cubs had picked up Soroka. And that was like pretty much it, right, for the National League of guys like of anything. I mean, there wasn't really tons. Like the Brewers didn't do much. The Dodgers,
the Cubs didn't really do much either.
No, that's not much.
The Brewers ended up picking up the Arizona closer at the last minute, Miller.
Oh, they got Shelby Miller.
Yeah, but he got him for free because they took Montgomery's contract too.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, Mets and Padres. I mean, Padres you don't worry about until playoffs. Really, the Mets would probably be the main focus. So they picked up a closer and picked up a center fielder.
So what the Mets did is they shortened the game to 6 innings because right they got Rogers, uh, what's his name, Helsley, and they have Diaz for 7, 8,
Yeah,
9.
good point. Yep.
It's kind of what the Phillies did in 2008, right? I mean, Phillies had Cole Hamels and four clowns, right, in the starting rotation. I mean, Myers was middling.
Myers was good playoffs, but he struggled that season up and down for sure.
Moyer
Yeah,
was. I mean,
Moyer, Joe
And Joe
Blanton.
Blanton.
yeah. I mean, what is that rotation? But you got through 6 innings. You weren't hitting Romero. You weren't hitting Madsen. You weren't hitting Lidge, and the game's over. So I think that's what the Mets are looking to do. That's a little scary. Now, the Phillies have two starting pitchers that are head and shoulders better than anybody the Mets have in
I would
rotation.
I mean, so I was just looking at something that is a graphic somebody posted on Twitter. If you take the Mets top three, let's say they meet in the division series again, right, this year. It's a 5-game series.
Mm-hmm.
Mets top three pitchers, Phillies top three pitchers, top three relievers. I mean, you can make an argument that maybe one of the 7th or 8th inning guys is somebody you would want more, but the Phillies top three man for man are all better than who they would match up against.
So Mets would have Senga, Holmes.
Senga, Holmes, and I forget who the other guy was. But to me, Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez all pitching better than any of those whoever they had them lined up against. Duran, I would take over Diaz, and now
Probably Peterson for the Mets, right? Maybe Peterson.
I honestly, I'll try to look up the Mets now just to double check. Now, if you want to argue Rogers is destroying right-handed pitching, right-handed hitters, so maybe he's a better 7th inning guy than Strahm or Kerkering. Helsley's been down on his velocity and some other metrics this year, so I don't know if Kerkering's got his stuff right. I don't know that I really think that's an advantage to them. So as far as the rotation goes, rotation is certainly edge Phillies, and the bullpen I think is, so you got like that. You got to get to the starters and get to the 6th inning. Either team really, but I think the Phillies hold the advantage on the starters being able to hold up better.
Yeah, I mean the bottom line, it's impossible to predict like game for game and this and that. Like the bottom line is the Mets got better.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it comes down to
did.
is the Mets got better. And the Mets have a chance to win the World Series, like the Phillies have a chance, like all these teams in baseball have legitimate chances to win the World Series, and it comes down to like we talk about every year, who's going to hit in the playoffs, who's going to get 2-out hits, who's going to hit with men in scoring position.
Yeah.
I mean that's what it comes down to. And the Phillies gave themselves a chance, the Mets gave themselves a chance, and now they got to they got to perform. And
yeah, it would have been
there's not much you can say
Peterson.
about it.
Peterson is the third.
So that's weak.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Peterson fan at all. I think he's pitching way above his, what he is.
Yeah, I just think if you don't have starting pitching, unless you're the Dodgers last year with Freeman, Ohtani, like just going off hitting wise, it's hard. It's hard to win. It just is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to compare them to the '08 Phillies, they didn't have Howard, Rollins, Utley. They don't.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, like if you take the top 3 starters and your 7th, 8th, 9th inning guys, who in the National League has a better 6-man than the Phillies right now?
I think you like their bullpen a little better than me. Obviously I like the Dorian.
It's not the best bullpen, but I think the starters is where they man for man top 3 gives them the advantage.
I mean,
overall.
I think the Strom's starting to come together now. Right since
Do you try? I still don't trust Strom. I don't know.
I agree. I don't necessarily, but the numbers are with the. I mean, the way he's pitching is how he's like. But no, I agree. Kerkering, I don't trust Kerkering. He still comes in. Is wild. That first batter he's wild with, and
I prefer if he was the 7th inning guy rather than the 8th inning guy. To be honest with you, he's got the stuff. I don't know.
No, but last year I trusted Hoffman a lot so it's
But I mean, if you look at the rotation, nobody can match the rotation. I mean, Milwaukee's got a good one, but they don't match the Phillies.
No, I mean, and I think that I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, but they got some guys that turn it around. Maybe that's, but I mean, Dodgers Yamamoto, obviously. May they just traded, right? So he's gone. Um,
Yeah, Otani. I don't. I mean, could you count
Otani,
on
and
him for
you're gonna
more than three innings?
Glass now has made a Glass.
Yeah, I don't know.
Snell is
I don't know
supposed to be
what.
back, but who knows? They lost what, like 10 games in a row at one point. So
Well, I think Tommy mentioned it earlier. Like who knows? Vegas knows.
yeah,
And right now, and
The
as of
Dodgers
last
are the
night,
overwhelming favorite to
and then
yeah,
the
win.
Phillies are
and
next,
Phillies are
right?
next.
Phillies are tied with the Yankees, and the only reason
Okay.
they're tied with the Yankees is because the Dodgers are in the National League
Yeah,
and there's nobody in the American League.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Phillies would be second.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you know, we always say Vegas knows.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, or we'll move on to the Pony Saratoga Whitney Day.
I think we covered it as far as I'm concerned.
All right, we'll see. So, well, next week we'll have actual games.
Yeah.
Now, what's is Duran? Is he like ready to go for tomorrow?
Yeah. Tomorrow night he's going to
yeah,
be.
I would
He's
assume.
ready.
And then Robertson should be. I mean, he's got what? He's already
I
pitched three
thought I heard
times.
August 1st, so maybe him too. He might. He
That'd be
might be.
Friday.
And then Nola just pitched or about to pitch.
Nola got
Yeah.
rained out
Oh.
tonight. He was supposed to pitch,
Ah,
but it's a doubleheader tomorrow, so he'll probably go tomorrow, I guess.
so he's probably 2 or 3 rehab starts. So you
I
should see
think
him
they
in
said
about.
3, so you're looking at mid-August.
Three, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Saratoga. I don't even know what you call it, late to mid card pick 5. That isn't the late pick 5. It isn't the middle pick 5. It's not the early pick 5. Just 5 random races they decided to put together for so
The
odd reason.
mandatory pay pick 5 is
Right. Like I just don't even understand what they try to do. It is Hall of Fame week, so shout out to Smarty. We got to see him. We got to see him come from Gotham, so pretty cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to Smarty for Hall of
Yeah.
Fame, which is tomorrow, I guess. But let's jump into it. It's Whitney Day. It's a big day for Saratoga. Those following along, we're starting with race 7, which is like Chalky said, the mandatory pay pick 5, which will covers races 7 through 11. Ends with Whitney. Post time for race 7 is 3:17, and that's here on the East Coast. So let's start off. Jason, I will go to you since this race is tough.
Yeah, thanks. Jeez.
No problem.
Was hoping you weren't going to go to me, but yeah. So this race is impossible to me. I have no confidence at all in this race. To me, all of the top picks that I would like are all posted outside. I didn't really like that. So I'm taking shots here, and I'm telling you now, I have no confidence in this, but I'm taking 4 shots. Um, I didn't find a clear horse that was going to be on the lead, so I'm going to start out with the 4 Ridgewood Runner. I know he's 30-1, but Carmouche we know is aggressive, and I think he could put him on the lead. And if nobody else goes with him in a 7 furlong race, you never know. So
To
taking
quote
a shot.
to quote Big Fat Stabile, I will get knocked over with a feather if that horse is on the lead.
Yeah, you don't think?
No chance, I don't think.
Okay.
No, even
Uh,
his races where he's on the lead is you're talking 7 furlongs and 23-3.
yeah.
That's slow.
I just couldn't find a horse. So I'll go through the rest of my horses because I thought maybe the 2 Barksdale for Walden and Davis could be on the lead. Um, so I was going to use him. Um, then I'll back down to the 3 Echo again for Cassie and Johnny V. He's run well at the Spa. He's got a small sample size. I think I saw he was pretty good. It's only like 4 races, but he was pretty good, Cassie and Johnny V. So their jockey trainer stats were good. And then I threw in the 10 for what's the 10's name for Shogun Saez,
pentathlon.
pentathlon. Another horse who's from well at the Spa. He's got to win at the distance. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I am not confident in my picks, but I have 2, 3, 4, 10.
All right. So I have 4 horses as well. My top pick is the horse I kind of think is going to be on the lead. It's the one Hold My Bourbon for Safi Joseph, and Jose Ortiz. They're switching from husbands to to Ortiz from Churchill. Horse was on the lead in a route race. Some of his races back, he showed speed. His early time four numbers are pretty fast. He's cutting back. He's on the route. And Safi has two in the race, and they both have speed, and they're both the Ortiz brothers. One of those horses is going to the lead. I don't know which one. I think it's this one. But then the five is Dilger, who is the other Safi horse, who also shows speed with Irad on. You would think Jose is going to be more aggressive, so that's why. And he's got the rail, so he's got to go. So I think he goes the lead. I think Irad's not going to be far behind. So I'm 1-5. Credit worthy. People are going to knock that race because he exploded in the slot. He also could just be coming to his own, so I'm not going to leave him off a ticket that I'm not totally sure in. It's Pratt. It's Chad. He's going to sit off a pace. Jason said all these horses who may or may not. I mean, sometimes they read the same form we do, so they decide, what, I can steal this race, and they all go, and you actually get a faster pace. So I'm the 11 credit worthy, and Jefferson Street ran well at exploded at Saratoga. Has a run style that Junior Alvarado can ride, where he's off the lead, kind of makes that run. And again, if there's a little bit of pace because nobody thinks there's going to be pace, then he's going to be coming late. So I'm 5, 11, and 13. So nothing, no crazy prices, but I think those four get you through to the next leg. Chalky.
So I have three, and they are three of your four. I'm going against Credit Worthy, just as I think could be a vulnerable favorite. I mean, it's hard to say. Brown doesn't know what he's doing, and Klarovich and all that, but I'm going to try to beat him in this leg. My top pick would be the 5. Just looking at that last race, he was on the lead until Zayas lost the whip. I don't know if that cost him the lead, but certainly probably didn't help him in the race. That was his one bad outing. But I do agree, two Safi Josephs, it's the Ortiz brothers. Shady things happen. One of them's gone to the lead, and so I felt confident one of those two. And I'm also using Jefferson Street. Like Jason said, the 13 post not great, but he freaked last year at the spa when we were up there on Belmont weekend. And then, he ran in some graded races, wasn't quite top tier or that. So now this is obviously a class drop, and he's going back to 7 furlongs, which is right around the distance where he ran well before. So I'll go 1-5-13 in that leg.
Look, we're recording this on Thursday too, and that's the disadvantage that we're going to have. Like, we're talking about the 13 post. You get 3 scratches, he moves into 3 spots.
Yeah.
He gets 4 scratches.
Sure.
Like that 13 post can all of a sudden be an advantage because now he's an outside post that's not that crazy. So, us capping this far in advance is a disadvantage for all of us. So, keep that in mind as we go through these picks. Even when we talk about pace scenarios, etc. I mean, that does change it completely.
Yeah,
so.
and they got some rain today and a lot of scratches. Friday and Saturday are supposed to be dry, but you never know with that weather.
Yeah, you never know. Okay, let's move on to our first stakes race that we're going to cover on today's card, and it is a race 8, 3:52 Eastern Standard Time. It's the 4-star Dave of Grade 1, a mile going on the turf. Chalky, where you landing?
So my top pick is going to be deterministic. Clement Carmouche won the Manhattan last time out, which, we kind of talked about that and said maybe they were giving him one because of his pops passing away. But he won that on the lead, and there wasn't really any, maybe the 2 will try to get out there, but certainly seemed like the potential class of who wants to go on the lead. And we've seen this happen in New York all the time where a horse lopes along on the lead and goes wire to wire. I mean, he just did it in the Grade 1. So he would be my top pick. I would also be using the 4 Think Big, who won the Kelso last time out at Saratoga. He had a little bit of trouble, still won the race. And then also out of that race, the 5 Win for the Money with Cassie and Davis also had some trouble. I think was related to the same trouble that Think Big did. Ended up running 3rd, but with a little bit of a cleaner trip, might have gotten closer or up there. So 4, 5, 8, with the 8 being my top choice.
Okay, I got none of those 3 horses. I am going. So I think there's going to be a little bit of pace in this race. So Cassie has 2 horses. Both want to go to the lead or close to the lead. I think one of them definitely challenges deterministic. mean, deterministic. He got an easy pace in that race and won, barely hanging on to integration. And integration was in a ton of trouble. Uh, so I'm definitely against deterministic. Think big. I mean, keep in mind that's a horse that's coming from sprint races that has shown speed in other races, and now he's got Saez. Do we think he's going to run that same style that he ran with Jose, where he came from far back to win that race? I don't know. I could see Saez trying to put him in the race, um, a little bit. I don't think it's going to be crazy fast, and that's why my top pick is actually the three, Johannes, who scratched out of the was the Eddie Reed last week, whatever the one that was in at Delmar over the weekend to run in this race. He's going to be close to the lead, and if the pace isn't that crazy fast, I think he has a better turn of foot to blow by a deterministic or win for the money. Um, but I also am not. I mean, I'm not leaving off both the Chads, the 6 intellect and the 7 Spirit of St. Louis. Again, Spirit of St. Louis with Franco, he just finds ways to get him to the wire. I know he ran pretty poorly in the Manhattan. He's cutting back. It was also a good surface. I think if we get firm, I could see Spirit of St. Louis finding his form. And then Intellect is another horse that has closed into slow paces. If you get a little bit of motor in this race, I could see Pratt flying by. Although 3 is my A, I would still go with 3, 6, and 7. Jason?
Yeah, so this is a great race for me. I'm trying to beat Johannes. I don't, he's 7 months off the layoff.
Yeah, look at his races off layoffs in the last 3 years. Win, win,
Yeah,
win. All his best races of the year, pretty
yeah.
much.
I'm just not big on California turf horses. And he could obviously win the race. I mean, he's got the numbers, but um, all his wins are in California. The two races he didn't run in California, he didn't run well. I mean, obviously it's Churchill, so you don't know about that turf, but I'm taking a shot against him. My top choice is going to be the 4. Think big. Um, you know, he's got to win at the spot, the distance. I think he should sit a nice trip, like kind of right little mid pack off the lead. Um, maybe Saez is more aggressive, like you think, Tom, but I don't know. If he looks at the way Jose ran him last race, maybe he tries to do the same thing with him. Going to take the shot there. My second choice is going to be the 6 intellect for Brown and Pratt. He's the beaten favorite in the last 2 races. Finished second, so maybe a little disappointing there, but he also might be value now because I mean he's going to be he's not probably not going to be the favorite in this race. So if he's 4 to 5 to 1, 4 or 5 to 1, I think you could get value there on intellect. Um, and I always like taking speed, so I am going to use the 8 deterministic. I actually had him in the Manhattan, so a little biased there, but another horse has shown he does like Saratoga. Um, we know Carmouche is going to be aggressive with him. I don't know. I've seen a lot of grab in New York racing, so Carmouche doesn't grab. Take a shot that he's gonna get the lead and keep going. So 4, 6, 8 for me.
I mean, the only thing I'll tell you about deterministic is he had speed at a mile and an eighth. Do we know he has speed at a mile?
Yeah,
I
I,
mean, he
you
didn't in the
don't, you
past, but
don't.
he also didn't have speed on the turf in the past.
Yeah,
But
no, I
I,
hear you.
I don't know. I don't know if he does.
Yeah, I think Carmouche is going to try to make him have speed. So we'll just see if he if
Yeah,
he, if he can get there.
promotion in grade ones, I'm good with.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to race 9. It's a mile and 3/6. The Saratoga Derby, grade 1, starts at 4:28. Um, I don't know, man. I'll go first. For grade 1, I found this field to be bad for a grade 1. You got, I don't know, 3 horses that are like anything special on the turf. I mean, Final Gabbett, Tistet, like no, thank you. 1, no, thank you. 2, no, thank you. You got Test Score, who with Franco's always gives him a good ride. But I don't know, what did he beat in any of the races that he won? Um, New Century, who's been the a favorite. Last race disappointed. He was short odds in a couple other races disappointed. I'm gonna hitch my wagon to the international horse, the 7. I'm going to say single. He's got grade 1, grade 2 victories. He's coming here.
Yeah.
He's stretching out. I mean, he went a mile and a quarter for the first time, right? But that was a grade 1 in Great Britain. Ran fifth. I mean, I guess there's only 6 horses, so probably not great. I don't know. He's 7-5 morning line. I'm gonna just take my shot and single there because I don't think this field is good at all. Jason?
Yeah, I totally agree. And the one thing I found here is not only are the horses not good, but like there's no speed at all in this race. Like who was getting the lead? So
Yeah,
I
these mile and 3/16 races too are like
yeah. So
you
the way
never
I
see
see
horses with like speed though. I mean, you never see crazy speed horses in these
no, but I
races.
mean, I don't know who's getting the lead. So what I see is I see a bunch of horses all bunched up, and I see the seven hot as hell, just having the best turn of foot down the stretch and going by and just winning the race. I couldn't come up with anybody else either, so I did the same thing. I just said I'm going to ride with seven and just hope he's the best horse and just has the turn of foot that just go by everybody down the stretch.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm almost saying 7-5 cold exacta. Be honest with you, with test score, like I
Yeah,
don't see anything
yeah.
chalky.
So I really went back and forth whether to include the 7 at all. So I mean, it's cheap enough to ticket that I'll throw him in. It's bad strategy if it's a vulnerable favorite. But I have 4 here if you include the 7.
Why was he vulnerable? I'm just
Well, I mean, it's unclear. We don't know how good or not he is coming in. Like he ran well last year, but he's been running. This isn't a trainer or a jockey that normally come over. If this was Appleby, this horse would be 4 to 5 just because of the connections. We don't
I
know.
mean, he won a Group One, right, in England.
Yeah, but what 1 turn mile and hasn't run back this year. So to me, we don't know that he's. I don't know that he's so great, even though the rest of these aren't that good. But regardless, 5 test score was my top pick. He's been 2 or 3 of his last races in graded company. He may not have beat a whole lot, but he did run second to Zulu Kingdom, who is going to be the favorite tomorrow in the feature. And this distance is a little. Zulu Kingdom's the best turf male 3-year-old in the country, but this distance is a little too far for him, so he's not running in this race. I was also going to use, aside from the 7, the 1 Capitol Hill. Didn't have a lot of great run lines, but Mott threw him in the Manila, and he ran at a big number right behind Zulu Kingdom. Mott's keeping him in graded company, in fact, moving him up to a grade 1, so I'm going to respect his judgment there on that. It's unclear whether he really has the talent, but in a race where if nobody seems that good, if you're not single in the 7, I'm going to throw him in there. And then the other one would be the 9 World Beater, who ran behind test score at the Belmont Derby at Saratoga. It's a little bit more distance, so with a little more run, maybe he closes that gap. But 4 for me in that race.
uh 1 second here. My computer. All right, so great race 10, 5:04 Eastern Standard Time. It's the test. It's a grade 1 going 7 furlongs for the females. And Jason, we will give you the honors of going first.
So this is another good race. I thought there's some speed in this race with Cash Call, Mo, and Molly McGee and Artisma. I thought all were going to be pretty prominent. Um, I don't know if you guys get the sheets I sent you, the free ones that Beck sends out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them.
You did
Yep.
get them, yeah, yeah. So I used those a lot, and I like the I know it's a big jump for him, but I like the 1 ragtime. He paired sixes. He's shown he likes Saratoga. Um, he she I should say he, but I think she's primed to make a jump now. Could she make a jump up high enough to win this race? Remains to be seen. But I always like to see, especially a horse that paired with a good number, their maiden race, their first race win. So um, she's going to be my top pick. The 6 Echo Sound. I mean, she really hasn't done anything wrong, and she has by far the best sheet number. Does she bounce off of that number? I mean, I guess that's the question you have to ask there. If she doesn't, and even if she pairs it, I mean, she probably wins the race. So you have to include her. Um, I also like the three look forward for McCarthy and Rispoli. Another horse who's coming off pairing a nice number. She paired fours. Um, and she's cutting back from the acorn, so I like cutbacks to 7 furlongs. And then I threw in the 8 beauty reigns for Mountain Irad. Um, Kind of has a nice progression going with her sheets as well. If she improves off of that 4, she's going to be right there. But again, I think it's a really good race. So I had to go 4 deep. 1, 3, 6, 8 for me.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a tough race. You know, I just can't back ragtime on the rail. Only 2 races, inexperienced,
Yeah.
jumping into Grade One territory. 6-1. I could see that number coming down because people love Mott and that you see a 96 buyer. Um, so I did not like ragtime for those reasons. But I'm not in love with Echo Sound, but it's one of those things. I mean, Jason said if he pairs his number, I mean, if the horse pairs his number, he wins by 7. I
Yeah.
think in this race because he ran a 0-1 negative, right? I mean, that's
At Saratoga too. So
yeah. So, but it was he got a nice trip and all that. So, and it was only against 3 other horses, I should say. So yeah, if he pairs that, it's over. But I like the California Speed horse in Look Forward. He could sit right off of the 4, Baffert's horse. He could even have the lead. I think it's going to depend on how they come out of the gate. But I always like you got to like the California sprinters versus the East Coast sprinters. Um, I don't love the Tory, but Peter Urton has come to Saratoga and won some races in the past. So I was going to give me and Molly McGee. So if you're looking for a horse kind of jumping into deep waters, the one that has a little bit more experience, the one that has, Urton speed, who has like that California speed, although he ran at Churchill. Um, I kind of looked at. And then the 8 beauty reigns. I mean, Irad's going to set a perfect trip outside, especially if there is some speed. I mean, that's the Irad specialty: outside speed, stalking, and just kind of powers down the lane. He's the proving type, just like Jason said. I might even say he's my top pick if Echo Sound doesn't fire the race. But I'm not one to say it. So I was 3-5, 3-5, 6-8 in this race. Chalky?
My top pick's going to be the 3 Look Forward for McCarthy, and then my other 2 are going to be the Motts. So in order, 8 Beauty Reigns, 1 Ragtime. So 3-8-1.
So although I said Jimmy D will not be on the show, he gave Chalky the Mott power, and I guess Chalky was just using every Mott that's on the card today. So that's good to know. All right, race 11 is the feature. It's the Whitney. It's a Grade 1. It ends the mid to late / early mandatory pick 5 that we're covering on this race because they didn't know how to. It's the first time the racing secretary ever made a card, I guess. It's the Grade 1 Whitney. I mean, it's just stupid. Like I don't. Why would you just not have all your like? It makes no sense.
an all stakes pick 4 would make sense to me.
Because they
But
want to
Yeah.
just keep jamming pick 5s into it. So you have a late pick 5 that has 2 races that nobody cares about after the Whitney. That's probably why they want people to stay for
Well,
the
I think that there's probably national TV coverage too for it being 541. So, but you still could have a bet that covers everything.
Yeah, right. I just think more races should have ended. But yeah, whatever. But this does end the pick 5 we covered. It's the Grade 1 Whitney. Big races. Mind Frame.
well,
Sierra
mind
Leone.
frame's going to scratch if
Oh, he is.
if
Okay.
Fierceness runs mind frames
Yeah.
out.
Oh, that's huge to know. I mean, I was kind of wondering why they have Gomez on the horse to begin with. So kind of makes sense. So, but just going White Barrio, Fierceness, Sierra Leone, some big names. Seems like a pretty good race. Chalky, you're up to go first.
So this is my single, and it's whichever Pletcher Rapoli horse runs. I'm going to say Fierceness because Fierceness is the first choice to get in. So if he doesn't come up lame, he'll be the one that runs. You look at his history. He runs well at Saratoga. his sheet number. He ran like a bad race in theory last time out, and his sheet number was still a negative zero. If he should break, if he breaks well and doesn't get jammed up like he did in the other race, I think he'll be there, and he's shown that he's a good horse. Mindframe could be the more talented one, and if he ever got his mind straight, they kept saying he could be the most, and he certainly run well and sort of this year in a couple different situations to sort of bear that out, but they're not running both of them. But I would take either one, but for the purposes of this, we'll say 9 Fierceness.
Jason?
So before I go, I would like to give Jimmy D's pick. And Jimmy D sent me a warning. He said, I better not hear anything but fierceness for picks. So Jimmy D's pick is fierceness. And I responded back, Jim, that I have to try to beat fierceness, right? So anyway, if I look at the pace, it seems like the 4 Mama's Gold and the 8 Contrary Thinking are going to set a fast pace, right? The 8's clearly in the race to be a rabbit. I don't think the 4 could do anything else but try to get the lead. So I think those 2 are going to get the lead. Now, can Fierceness sit off of them far enough to not get burned on a fast pace? He probably could. Or could he just be too close to a fast pace? Um, I'm going to take the bait. I'm going to say that the race is going to set up for the 5 Sierra Leone. So I'm going to pick him to win, but I'm also going to take a shot using the 3 Highland Falls, who's going to be a little closer than Sierra Leone, and we'll get a first jump on the speed horses. So I'm going to go too deep, and I'm going to do Sierra Leone to 5 and Highland Falls to 3. If you want an exacta, I think if it's a really fast pace, you can get a bomb with Disarm getting second, or Post Time is a horse that cannot win, but always hits the board. So maybe Post Time is a good horse to key second with whoever you have winning.
Yeah, so I did not know about Mindframe, and I actually was against Mindframe, obviously, with Gomez on and all. So I don't like Mindframe if he's in and Fierceness scratches. Obviously I like Fierceness. You could argue a single. I just am afraid of 2 other horses in the race that I just can't single. Um, to Jason's point, Brown finally entered a rabbit in a race for how many times did he let Sierra Leone not have a pace? So he finally runs the rabbit. Now, if those 2 horses might just go off and it might not even affect the race because Fierceness could sit and they
Mm-hmm.
count their own race. But who knows? I mean, maybe Fierceness goes with those horses or tries to go and it burns out. It's definitely possible. So I'm
Yep.
going to protect a little bit. So Sierra Leone is one of the other horses that I will protect Fierceness with. But I was looking. I just can't give up, and I've been against this horse every time he's been losing. But now I'm with him. I can't give up on White Barria. I mean, he freaked in this race 2 years ago. And if
Yep.
you go back through his PPs, in the slot the Met Mile didn't run well. That's 1 mile. All right, let's go back to 2 turns at Gulfstream, ran a 1 negative. Okay, 2 turns at Gulfstream, ran a 4 negative. Okay, now we go 7 mile at Saratoga, fake track in Dubai, mile and a quarter he runs 1 negative. Mile and an eighth he runs 6 negative. You go back and you got to find them, but every 2 turn race on a fast track, the horses ran 1, 2, 6 negative. He might still have one in him to do that. If Fierceness gets burnt out, he's going to be closer than Sierra Leone. He gets first jump. He still has the horse. I can see him running to the wire and winning. So I am Fierceness, White Barrio, and Sierra Leone. I'll give you the numbers when I do the pick 4. But that's where I'm at in this race. All right, pick 5. Pick 4. Pick 5. You want to give out your pick 5, Jason?
Yeah. So for 50 cents, I have a $48 pick 5. Um, for race 7, I'm going to be 4 deep, 2, 3, 4, 10. Race 8, I'm 3 deep, 4, 6, 8. Race 9, I'm singling the 7, hot as hell. Race 10, I'm going to be 1, 3, 6, 8. And then race 11, I'm going to do 2 horses. I'm going to use the 3 Highland Falls and the 5 Sierra Leone. for 50 cents. It's $48.
All right, I do have a pick, 50 cent pick five as well. It's actually 72. I miscalculated when I was talking off air. Four deep, 1, 5, 11, and 13. The first race. Second race, I'm 3, 6, 7. Third race, I'm 7, which is the single we spoke about, how to tell. Race 10, I am 3, 5, 6, 8. And for the Whitney, I'm 5, 7, 9, which is um, 5 is Sierra Leone, 7 is White Barrio, 9 is Fierceness, 50 cents is $72. Could chalk up and not pay much, but it's worth a shot. Chalky.
Race 7, 1 5 13. Race 8, 4 5 8. Race 9, 1 5 7 9. Race 10, 1 3 8. And race 11, the 9. That is $54 for 50 cents.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We've done many of these Saratoga shows, many of these handicap shows that the weather then just goes to hell, and every single pick we made was for nothing. But it does look like the weather should be okay, but we shall see. Sometimes scratches greatly affect the races, so if you're listening and you're going to play them, just pay attention because some of the reasons why speed closing completely changes with scratches. So it's why giving out picks on a Thursday is tough when the races are on Saturday. But this was episode 166 of Broadsheet Hustle. Have a great night.